You know, the very thought that someone can hurt a child is so abhorrent, so vile, that it confounds the human mind and wounds the human heart. The fact that it could be a person of trust is distinctly disgusting. Too many children and young adults have been subjected to the horrors of sexual abuse. Having open dialogue about these events and allowing for those persons and entities that committed or enabled these acts to be held, they need to be held accountable. It is important not only for the abuse victims and their families, but also important for American society. That is why it was so horrifying to me and to everyone at the Department of State that a grave error at the department added to the pain of any victim of abuse. And that is why we accept the Inspector General's conclusions and have already begun to implement the report's recommendations to correct the egregious errors that occurred. While the Inspector General's report found no evidence of intentional wrongdoing or malfeasance on the part of the Department of State, it did find that no formal process of receiving, tracking, processing, and overseeing proposed constitutional amendments existed. Instead, the department relied on informal and unwritten past practices. To address the department's systematic deficiency, we have now created written policies and procedures for receiving, tracking, processing, and publishing each type of legislation the department receives. And we are assigning responsibilities for those tasks to specific bureaus, offices, and staff members. We have assigned a single department executive, the executive deputy secretary, to physically receive and assume custody of joint resolutions and proposed constitutional amendments, and then to oversee and track their processing to publication. The department is moving from a bottom-up to a top-down notification system. We will ensure tracking by having the department's Office of Legislative Affairs notify executive staff of joint resolutions and proposed constitutional amendments. We are creating an electronic tracking system to track each step in the process through completion. All current and new staff that handle the processing of legislation, including joint resolutions and proposed constitutional amendments, will receive initial training on the new process, and then at a minimum, annually thereafter. Again, I want to sincerely apologize to the victims for the additional pain and distress we have caused them. And I want to make it clear that the report's recommendations and our new procedures will be very carefully, scrupulously followed. Our new processes and corrective actions will be ingrained in the department's personnel to ensure that such a failure will never happen again.